Oh, look at that. That's huge. What is that? That's a pompilid.
Are wasps really that scary? Could they help us in the garden? What if they could take the sting out of our next headache using their venom? Hey, it's Bry the Fly Guy. Meet Dr. Juanita Rodriguez, an entomologist who's dedicated her career to all things wasps. Join Juanita and I on a Bush Blitz to the Pilliga as we search high and low looking for species of wasps new to science. You'll never believe what we uncover. Come on! Oh, who's this? Is that Dr. Juanita Rodriguez from CSIRO?
Oh, hi, Brian. Yes, that's me.
What are you doing here in the Pilliga?
I am actually at a Bush Blitz collecting wasps. Do you want to join me?
I'd love to. Awesome. Let's go.
Let's go.
Juanita, what are you looking for?
I'm looking for spider wasps.
Spider wasps? What are they?
They are not spiders, they're wasps.
They're not flying spiders.
They're not flying spiders. A pompilid is a spider wasps that look for spiders, sting them, paralyze them, and then lay an egg on them so that their babies will feed on the paralyzed spider that is still alive. When the baby hatches, it eats the spider.
Wow, that's wicked.
Yes, they're very sneaky.
And can they paralyze humans?
They actually cannot paralyze humans because the amount of venom that they inject is not that much, but the sting does cause a lot of pain. In the venom, there's a lot of toxins that we're looking into, and they can be modulators of sodium channels in the central nervous system. So we're trying to figure out what the effect could be so we can use them as potential drugs.
Hang on, so they might be used to help take away our next headache, maybe?
Actually, even better than that, because they could be used to treat conditions like epilepsy and Alzheimer's.
Whoa.
But you said headache because they cause so much pain. The venom can also be used to understand how pain is produced and maybe how we can treat it.
That's amazing. So wasps sting and they hurt, but it's not all bad because one day they can help us take away our pain.
Exactly. They're not evil. They're really actually helping control populations of spiders. And they are really good because they're also pollinators.
So without wasps, we'd have way more spiders crawling around.
Exactly. If you don't like spiders, spider wasps are your friends.
Hey Juanita, how did you fall in love with wasps?
Well, actually, when I was in uni, I started looking at insects under the microscope, and I just thought they were fascinating. They looked like little aliens. And I was very interested in the diversity and all that is unknown about them. And then I got the opportunity to start working on wasps through a scholarship. And that's when I met spider wasps and I fell absolutely in love with them.
Hey Juanita, what's your favorite wasp species you've ever seen?
Oh, that's a difficult question because I love wasps so much and there's such a diversity that it's very difficult to pick a favorite one. But I guess right now, my favorite ones in general are spider wasps. The orange and black spider wasp is really cool because it's really large and it's so strong that it can carry a huntsman spider to its nest.
Whoa, don't skip leg day for the spider wasps.
Exactly, they have really strong legs, really strong mandibles to carry spiders that are 10 or 20 times their size.
Wow.
They're very difficult to catch, especially spider wasps. They're very sneaky, and sometimes when you put your net over them, they will crawl out of the net and fly away.
Oh, well, let's try and get one.
Let's do it.
Wow, Juanita, what's that?
This is a waspiest wasp. They are from the same family as paper wasps, but they build nests in mud or on the ground.
That was some serious net swinging action.
Yes, they're actually very difficult to catch. But look at this little one that I just got. It's a waspiest eumenid wasp, and they build mud nests or nests on the ground.
Wow, cool. What a beauty. Juanita, Why are wasps important? Do they do anything in the ecosystem, or what happens if someone wished that one day all the wasps would just disappear on Earth?
Wasps are actually very good at controlling the populations of other bugs, so they're really good pest managers.
Pest managers, okay.
Yes, we can actually use them as biocontrol agents to even control pest species in agricultural landscapes or in general in the environment.
Are there reasons why we might want wasps in our gardens?
Yes, we actually want them in our gardens because they can help make sure that we don't have too many of other bugs or pests that are attacking our plants in our garden. And they also help pollinate as well.
Hang on, I thought the honeybee did that.
The honeybee is really good at pollinating because they're very fluffy and they have these pollen baskets that carry a lot of pollen. But it has been found that many native bees or wasps and even flies are actually really good at pollinating. Adult wasps feed on pollen and nectar, and they go to the flowers and move pollen around to pollinate native plants.
Juanita, what should someone do if they see a wasp in their backyard?
I think it's good to leave them alone, not disturb them, and usually wasps are not really aggressive unless there is a nest close by. But really it's good to not go close to the large nests, so for example the European wasp. And if there is one wasp flying around you, just let it fly around and it'll live on its own. They're not really aggressive or looking to hurt you.
Nice, so just shoo them away to go and control a spider population another day.
Exactly, let them do their job.
Hey Juanita, what's that?
Hey, it's actually a little tent for bugs.
Are you going camping?
Oh, I wish. It's actually a trap. So it's a mesh that we put across a creek or a wash. The bugs will fly into it because it's dark, they don't see it. And then the top is white, so they think that's the way out. And they'll walk up and be directed towards this collection device. It's a collecting jar. We just put ethanol in it, and then the bugs will go in there.
Cool. Do you need a hand setting it up?
Sure, please.
All right, let's get to it.
Let's do it.
Wow, Juanita, it's looking great. Are we finished?
Not yet. We actually need one of the most important things, and it's the ethanol to catch the bugs.
Oh, is that like the cherry on top?
That's the cherry on top of the whole process. Come with me. So there's this collecting jar here, which is empty, but actually has already caught some tiny little thing.
Cool.
Flies.
Hello, little friends.
And then we have a jar full of ethanol.
And what's ethanol?
Ethanol is a kind of alcohol, and it helps preserve the specimens.
Preserve as in like a pickle?
Yes, exactly. It's pretty much like pickling the specimens so that we can study them later, that we can extract their DNA, sequence the genomes, and understand them better and keep them in the collection safe without pests.
Wow, ta-da, that looks great.
Yeah.
And what are you hoping to find in this trap?
We are looking for, so these traps are really good for all flying insects, but they're very, very good for flies and wasps. And I am looking for spider wasps. And these traps actually catch more spider wasps that I could even catch in an entire week by hand.
Wow.
And they catch very rare species and hopefully some of a very weird group of spider wasps where the females don't have wings or the wings are reduced.
They don't have wings, the girl spider wasps.
Yeah, the wings are reduced and we really don't understand why yet, but they seem to hang out a lot around ants. So they could be mimicking ants.
Wow, looking like an ant to avoid predators or just to eat the ants?
Probably to avoid predators, to like blend in with them and use their defenses as a group to protect themselves.
Wow, that's so sneaky.
Yeah, they're very sneaky.
Cool. Wow. Whoa, it's already caught stuff.
Can you have a look? Yeah.
Wow.
Flies and wasps.
These are cool traps.
Wow, they are so efficient.
And have you named any species?
Yes, I have actually had the opportunity to name some species. For example, one found in Namaji National Park that we found in an area that had been previously affected by the bushfires that went through the ACT. And this is called Epipompilus namaji. And we haven't been able to find it after the bushfires.
Do you think it's an endangered species?
It could be, we are not sure. The reality is that we have very few specimens of it, so it's very rare. So it could be that it's being affected by the bushfires, but we don't have baseline data to get to a conclusion.
I guess you can't really protect species without knowing what they are first.
Exactly. That's what we're trying to do, get some baseline data, understand what we have so that we can protect.
Nice. Hey, I know this is random, but I love watching Jurassic Park as a kid, and the fossils were so cool. Are there any fossils of insects that you find exciting?
Yes, actually I love fossils and I've been able to describe a bunch of fossil species. Only one from Australia. We recently described Pergid sawfly that actually lives in this very area around here.
Wow, what's a sawfly?
A sawfly is a wasp, actually. I would like to call it a wasp because it's part of the taxonomic group where wasps, bees, and ants belong to.
But why is it called a fly? And why a saw? Does it like saw things and fly?
Yes, actually, it looks like a little fly because it is a wasp that doesn't have the wasp waist. And it's called sawfly because the ovipositor looks like a saw. It actually uses the ovipositor to make a little hole on the plant tissue and lay their eggs there so that the little babies can feed on the plant tissue.
That's insane. Sometimes when you go for a hike, you see these little twitching grubs.
Yes, they're actually sawflies. They're also called spitfires.
Whoa, so spitfires are a sawfly.
Yeah, spitfires are sawflies. And what they do is they feed on the eucalypt leaves and separate out the chemicals and the oils from the eucalypt and then spit it out as a defense mechanism. It's actually eucalypt oil that you get from the spitfire.
Wow, that's crazy. Hey, Juanita, what are all these things buzzing around?
All these are European honeybees. So
Honeybees?
they're actually introduced and they are used very widely in agriculture for pollinating crops. So these ones here could be feral honeybees or they could come from some managed colonies that are around this area.
Because when people think about insects and pollinators, they mostly just think of the honeybee.
Yeah, that's true. When you talk about bees, people imagine the European honeybee, but in reality, there's over 2,000 native bee species in Australia.
2,000 native bee species.
Yeah,
Different than the honeybee.
they are different than the honeybee, and we estimate that there are around 2,000. There are 1,500 known species, but we think that there's around 500 that still need to be described.
Wow. So are you looking for native bees on this Bush Blitz?
Yes, I'm looking for native bees because we're trying to describe those 500 undescribed species. And these ones that we're looking for are actually solitary because most species of bees are solitary. When you think about bees, you think about, social bees, but like 99.5% of bees are solitary.
Wow. Do native bees sting at all?
Yes, native bees have stingers. There is one group of native bees that is stingless, and they are actually social, and they produce honey. They're known as the stingless bees or sugarback bees, and they're found more in the tropical areas of Australia.
So why is it so important for you to come on trips like this at Bush Blitz?
We really like to contribute to the Bush Blitz program because it is a way to explore places that have not been very well collected in Australia and where we probably have a lot of missing diversity that needs to be described.
Nice.
So they seem to...
Who's that?
That's my colleague. Actually, she works on true bugs.
I am still down by the river.
And they're trying to figure out where we are. So we communicate using these radios to make sure that everyone's safe and to locate each other in the field.
Can we talk to them?
Sure. Hey Maya, where are you?
I'm in the creek just a bit further south, but I'll walk up when you guys are done together.
Okay, we'll let you know. We're gonna be a few minutes and we'll let you know.
Yeah, no rush at all, I'm still going.
Can I ask Maya a question? Hey Maya, what's your favorite bug?
Probably Mictus profana, which Juanita and I found earlier and I let escape accidentally.
We'd love to see it one day. Over.
Me too, over.
Well, let's get back to it.
That's great. Yeah, so this is life in the field, right? You have to carry a radio, you have to carry a spot tracker to check in with the base camp to make sure that everyone's safe.
Nice. What do you like most about being on a Bush Blitz?
What I like the most about Bush Blitz is that you get to interact with scientists that work with other groups that you have never worked with or that you have not been in the field to look at. And this interaction is very rich because you learn a lot and you find different ways of collecting and also network with other scientists.
What has been the most interesting thing you found so far on this trip?
So I've only been here for one day and I've already found over 5 species of velvet ants. So that means that this area is rich and abundant in velvet ants, and we think it's going to be a really good trip to find potential new species and to enrich the tree of life of velvet ants.
Wow. So how many species of velvet ant are there in Australia?
We think that there are over 500. So far there's only around 100 or so species described, but my student Maddie is working on them and trying to see if we can slowly describe the missing species that are there.
And how do you tell the species apart? Do you use a microscope or can you spot the difference?
That's a really good question. Actually, velvet ants are very brightly colored and have a lot of pilosity and spots, but even so, they are not very easy to tell apart. They don't look very different from each other because they are all trying to warn predators off.
Hey Juanita, I bet your insect collection's pretty big.
Yes, CSIRO's Australian National Insect Collection is the largest collection of Australian insects in the world.
How large is large?
We have 12 million specimens in our collection.
12 million?
Millions and millions.
What happens when you bring the specimens back to your lab?
When we bring the specimens back, what we do is we identify them, we label them properly, and we curate them to put them back in the collection and then enter the data into a database so that the data where the specimens were found is available to everyone.
Oh, that's a lot of work.
Yes, that's a lot of work, and we work on curating them and keeping them safe so that people can study them and we can discover new species and understand different processes that show populations change through time, how pollinators change through time, and understand the biogeography of species.
That's insane. I'd love to visit one day.
You're welcome to. Let's go.
Let's go. Juanita, do you have any advice for anyone thinking about doing science as a job?
So my advice is to really look into specifically what your skills are. Some of us are good at analyzing data. Some of us are really good at being out in nature. Some of us like being in the lab. And then according to that, you can go into a branch of science that really suits you, and then you will enjoy as well.
Nice. Hey Juanita, thanks so much for having me today. What's one last wasp fact that people need to know?
Did you know that female wasps are the only ones that can sting because males don't have a stinger?
What? So males are completely stingless?
Yes, males don't have a stinger because the stinger is a modification of the ovipositor. The ovipositor is used to lay eggs, so females are the only ones that developed a stinger through evolution.
Wow, so originally it was a giant straw to lay eggs and now they can sting venom out of it?
Yes, that's basically it. So most of the wasps that we see around have an ovipositor, and they lay eggs on other insects so that their babies can feed on those insects.
Oh, what little mama bears.
Yes, they are really good at taking care of their babies.
Wow, Juanita, I've learnt so much from spending the day with you. Thank you so much for sharing all your knowledge, and I actually am going to care a little bit more about wasps now.
Oh, that makes me really happy. Thank you so much for chatting with me about wasps, which are my favorite thing in the whole world.
Thanks so much for letting me be a wasp on your shoulder and see how you collect.
All right, so it's getting dark and I think there's not too many wasps around, so I'll have to go back to base camp. But see you later.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you.
Bye. Have you changed your mind about wasp now? Let us know in the comments below. This episode was filmed on the lands of the Gamilaroi, Gamilaroi and Gomeroi peoples. Travel Australia with us on our YouTube channel as we meet other researchers looking for species new to science. Or visit us at bushblitz.org.au. Who knows, you might even uncover a species new to science living in your own backyard. Oh, time flies. Catch you in the next one. Bye!
Oh, look at that. That's huge. What is that? That's a pompilid. It flew away.
Have you ever seen a wasp you've really wanted to look at and it's just flown away?
Yes, that just happened just now.